Welcome back to the Boomerang Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Drew.
And today we have a very interesting episode. A lot of things going on, a lot of crazy events. We'll start with Baltimore, the bridge. What happened over there, Drew?
I mean, I guess they lost power, did a mayday. Luckily, we had a few people, I think construction crew, that were there to stop a lot of the traffic. And I think it was pretty late at night. But ran into that bridge and destroyed it. Baltimore.
And I'm hearing from people, and I just heard this right we were planning on talking about this, but somebody said that they were watching video and they saw explosions on the bridge. So the question becomes is what's really going on here? I think it's a story worth watching. I mean, I still think about that story in Miami. Remember that story in Miami where some like 8-foot creature, 10-foot creature, right? Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
It's like we're seeing these very strange events and we don't understand their true meaning. But I think in time we'll definitely start to see it. And then of course we saw P. Diddy,
Puff Daddy,
Love Express, the
child trafficking, or not even just human trafficking.
Well, there was
the claim was.
Yeah, there was a report that the neighbor saw every night a bunch of underage kids coming to his house. We have no verification of that. That's just a claim out there. But he fled the country. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, probably guilty.
Probably guilty.
Yeah. And I mean, he has a pretty long history, right? He got sued by Cassie, which is his longtime girlfriend / slave, essentially, right?
Right.
And everything that she said. Then there's a music producer last month that came out and mentioned him, Cuba Gooding Jr. and Prince Harry. I don't know that the other two had anything to do with it, but essentially, after all his concerts, what he did is he made everybody sign NDAs. So he'd get a bunch of underage girls to come in. Everybody has to sign NDAs to be able to do anything, and then they would drug them, do with...
Allegedly
drug them, have sex with them, and traffic them, which is pretty scary stuff. And the matter that he's been able to do this for so long is really troubling. But yeah, I think he's in a lot of shit.
Well, I think it speaks to the bigger picture, which is back on the boards, the 17th letter of the alphabet boards, if people understand what I mean, they would actually say that, instead of these, we hear about, there's going to be mass arrests, this, that, and the other thing. Sure, there might be, but I think it would be a better play to get these people so implicated in criminality and have them actually flee the country themselves, because a lot of this, it's also the court of public opinion. You have to influence people. It's like when you see P. Diddy going on the lam and flying out of the country to a non-extradition country, it tells you that he's guilty. He obviously, he doesn't want to stand trial here. He wants to get out of here. I think that's what you're going to see with a lot of these politicians, celebrities, maybe even some athletes, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of these people, I think they're going to be forced to flee the country, and that's going to, I think, be the step that wakes up the public in the future. I'm talking like high-profile politicians, high-profile business people.
Well, a lot of these guys that made it, to the top, they're compromised, right? Yeah. And that's how they made it. And once all this stuff comes out of everything that they've been doing, a part of, I think it's going to get pretty ugly. So I think you're absolutely right. I think, a lot of these people are going to be leaving the country, moving elsewhere before, they have to file, face court here.
Yeah, and it's a great way to influence the public opinion. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to off themselves when a lot of this criminality, and a lot of people don't know this, but when Trump was president, he actually signed an executive order that if you're involved in things like child trafficking,
take the properties and everything,
seize your assets. The U.S. government has the ability to seize your assets. So I think when we see the full picture, we're going to see a lot of these people literally have their mansions, their cars, all their assets completely seized by the U.S. government.
Good. Speaking of that, someone who's not seizing assets is Peekaboo James in New York. They lowered Trump's bond to, I think, $175 million, which he came out and said he's going to be able to pay in cash. What are your thoughts on just kind of how that's unfolding?
I mean, I look at it a couple different ways. I mean,
obviously he shouldn't have to pay anything. It's a complete made up.
It's a complete joke. They evaluated Mar-a-Lago at $18 million.
And then they came out and said, well, if he sells Mar-a-Lago, it's probably worth a couple $100 million.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you tell them that it's only worth $18 million and then come out and say, well, you should sell it for $200 million?
I don't know if Trump is staging this stuff himself just to show how ridiculous things are. It almost makes you believe, like, is Rosie O'Donnell Trump's friend, right? Is Letitia James, are they just working together to just create this spectacle?
So absurd.
It's so absurd. The whole thing's so absurd.
And it ends up making him more popular.
And it's like, you would think that this wouldn't be the tactics they would use. But on the other side, it's like,
they're just so low IQ.
These people
Letitia James is just such a low IQ person.
I mean, look at this lady, Fannie Willis. I mean, Fannie Willis, did you notice her dress? Do you know something about her dress?
No.
The zipper was in the front. When she was She wore her dress, that stupid pink dress. She wore that backwards.
What a clown.
This is the these are the clowns. It's like, I don't know. I can't take it seriously, Drew. I can't, I just, there's something in me that's like, yeah, you know, they're prosecuting Trump on bogus stuff, right? None of this stuff's really a crime. They're just making crimes up. But the other side of it, I'm just like, you know, how do you wake up the public?
Yeah.
You have to create a spectacle that's so ridiculous, so absurd that even your most hardened liberal turns around and is like, all right, this is a little ridiculous. Yeah. This is a little absurd.
And I mean, they've essentially, I feel like, done that. I mean, she's doing everything through Joe Biden's office, right? You know, and then she hires her lover, right? It's just all these things coming out.
We found that out, right? Biden planted a guy in the...
Yeah, and he planted, I can't remember his name, but he planted another attorney in there. So it's just, it seems like a big scam, and it's all coming to light. I hope the public cares.
And I think, just because we obviously work for Midas, right? And we're a gold silver company. I think it speaks to the kind of the charade, right? Kind of the charade that we're presented. Like, okay, if you're seeing this in the legal system as just charade, what are you seeing in the banking system?
Right.
Right.
Same thing.
Same thing. It's all charade. Like, my view is the banks went out of business.
2008.
Arguably 2008. Yeah. 2008. But certainly during COVID, I think the COVID scam, now the banks have no reserve requirements. I think we talked about in the last episode. It's like, at what point do people stop buying the illusion and start understanding, like, you got to get your money out of the system now. You got to remove it out of the system. If you want to hold on to it, that's the only way to do it. And I think obviously gold and silver is probably the best way to do that. Maybe some of the crypto.
Maybe some Bitcoin, yeah. But I mean, essentially, you get it out of the bank, get it in some of the physical property, gold, whatever, storable food, lead.
Yeah, collectibles. Collectibles is a good place to put it. But yeah, we don't make it a secret that we work for Midas Gold Group, right? We're brokers here, right? Drew and I. And I think, with everything going on, whether it be, we like to report stuff like, P. Diddy and Gold Bar Bob, right?
Yeah, yep.
It's fun stuff. And it's like, we want to keep everybody up to date. But I think at the same time, give us a call. Like, we will do a fantastic job for you on gold and silver. We have the inventory here, right? We're not some call center. Drew and I, we work, right here in a storefront. You can come in and meet us.
We're much better gold brokers than podcasters.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's just things are getting crazy. It'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen here. We also have this Thursday. I don't think the interview's been released yet, but Bill Ogden. Bill Ogden's a guy who's been he's one of the guys working with Tactical Civics, tacticalcivics.com, and he's somebody who is fighting back against the how could I say, illegal, boards of supervisors, these different groups that are completely illegitimate. So we're going to have part 2 of that. I don't even think we released part 1 yet, but part 1 will be up. We'll be doing part 2 this week. It'll be a 3-part series with Bill, and he's just a wealth of information. So definitely tune into that. Anything you want to add, Drew?
No, that's about it. One thing I just saw, I just touched on real quick, is the demands from the president of Mexico.
Oh, great. Yeah. Let's go into this real quick.
How absurd is this that he's going to keep the flow of immigrants coming through unless we meet his demands, which are absurd. I think one of the line item was like $20 billion or something.
Yeah, the cost of the wall.
Yeah. It makes me just like, we could just end them. And when I say end them, I mean the political part, the fentanyl, the cartels, which all includes the president. I mean, I don't think every president they've ever had is corrupt. And it's probably the same as ours. But the idea that they have any leverage on us is a joke. Unfortunately, we have feeble Joe Biden, who's probably getting his diaper changed right now, not doing a damn thing for us.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to SF guys, Special Forces guys, and they've told me that they could clear out the cartels in days. Literally take them a week to clean up the cartels.
Yeah.
In Mexico. That's what Mexico really needs to do. Is they need to make Mexico great again. Mexico has so much. They have the biggest silver mines in the world. They're the silver capital of the world. They would have so much wealth if
they didn't sell their own mines out.
If they didn't sell their own mines out, sell their own people out, and it's sad because it's our neighbor. We want them to be great. We want Canada to be great. We want all, the whole North American hemisphere. We want it all to be great because I think
and safe.
And I think in the future, we're going to probably be very dependent upon the Northern Hemisphere, right? The North America and South America. I think it's you get all kinds of stuff that they produce down there, whether it be crops, oil,
a lot of produce.
I mean, there's so much that we could be working with them on, and it's just unfortunate that we've had this deep state power structure in place to just completely cut that off. And It'd be nice to see almost like the world operate like the original United States, where, when the United States was founded, you had this cohesion between the 13 colonies, right? And James, I think it was John Adams, he actually wrote about how magnificent it was. He was reflecting on how magnificent it was that these states, they were working together and creating commerce and wealth, and people were getting ahead, right? And I think, this is a moment of 1776 worldwide where the world can work together. The world can become the United States in a sense. And I think that's where we're headed. It'll take time to do it, but I'm confident in the good guys, and it'll be interesting to live through it. I mean, we're living through the greatest time in human history.
Certainly interesting.
Anything you want to add?
That's it.
Cool. We'll see you on the next episode.
Cheers.